Good morning or afternoon, depending on when you're looking at the video. Now, today is a new topic, but don't freak out. It is just patterns. When you did the warm-up, I'm sure you said, oh, this is easy. You're filling in the patterns. You look to see, is it going up or is it going down? Am I counting by twos, adding 2, add 2, add 2, or adding 10, or adding a 5, or subtracting a 5, or maybe subtracting a 2, or adding a 10 again? So whatever the pattern is, that's what today is about. A lot of math is just looking for a pattern. Now, we're going to use some more fancier words in algebra with our patterns. They're called sequences, okay? And there are different types of patterns or different types of sequences. We're going to be studying 2 sequences this year. They are arithmetic and geometric. So here's my posters on the arithmetic and geometric. Arithmetic. Now, you may say, that's arithmetic, Ms. Harris. I know that word. Yes, if it's a noun like I am studying arithmetic, but if it's an adjective as in arithmetic sequence, you pronounce it arithmetic. So there is my arithmetic poster, and arithmetic and geometric are the 2 that we're studying this year. The difference is if you're adding or subtracting to do your sequence, it's arithmetic. If you multiply to get the next number, then it's geometric. Okay, so we're going to start with the arithmetic today, so don't worry about geometric. We're going to focus on arithmetic. The thing that you're adding or subtracting is called the common difference, because if I subtract 15 minus 10, I can see the number that I added, or I can subtract 25 minus 20. You can take any term and subtract the previous one to see what the common difference is. And it might be a positive number, in which case you're adding it, or it might be a negative number, in which case you're subtracting it. So D is how they represent the common difference. So D is 5. So when they give you D as a number, you need to know what the D represents. That's the number that you're adding or subtracting to get your sequence, right? Now, A sub 1. A sub 1 is just shorthand for this is the first term. That's all that means. So when you see A sub 1, it is the very first term in the sequence, which is the number 10. So if they give you a sequence and say, hey, what's A sub 1? You go up to look for the first number and say, hey, it's 10. All right, that's all it is. It's just the first term. Now, A sub n can represent any term. If I want to find the 4th term, I would say, hey, find A sub 4. And that tells you go find the 4th term. 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be 25. So A sub 4 is 25. So that's just a way that they can generically say, hey, we're going to go find any particular term I want you to. So they may ask you for A sub 4, they may ask you for A sub 10, they may ask you for A sub 20. That's just the 4th term or the 10th term or the 20th term. It's just a way for them to ask you to go find a term. Now, since this is any term that I'm on right now, if I add 1 to it, will that be the next term in line? Sure. If I'm at A sub 4 and I add 1 to it, that gives me A sub 5, which is the next term in line. They use this in computer programming when they need to have it more generic for, whatever number you're going to plug in for n. So that's just a way to do the next term. Now, if I wanted to do the previous term, and I'm sitting here at n, it would be n minus 1, and that would be the previous term. So it's just kind of common sense on that stuff, but it's just getting used to using these little formulas or the different math symbols. Now, explicit formula. The explicit formula is really handy because if I want to find the 20th or the 80th term, I don't want to make a list and count all the way out to the 80th term. So this will find any term, okay? How it looks is it's A sub n, and A sub n, that could be 120. That would be the 120th term. So whatever term I'm looking for is equal to A sub 1, which is the first term, plus whatever it is I'm adding or subtracting. So if this is plus D, then I'm adding it. If it's minus D, then you're subtracting it. And then the rest of the formula is comma or parentheses n minus 1. And so when you're plugging in for the formula, what you do is you plug in your first term for a particular sequence and you plug in your D number. And then you can use this formula to find any term that you want to. And we're going to practice doing that today. So let me see if I can get this better. There you go. There's the formula right there. So you might want to take a picture of that because we're going to be using it. This is in your Unit 2 resources. Posters in your Unit 2 resources. So here we go, finding lovely patterns. You already did the warm-up. Let's go look at the actual worksheet, which is this one. I think I have the right one. No, I don't have the right one. I have 2 of the wrong one. Here it is. Arithmetic Sequences, Day 10. So the first thing they'll have you do on this worksheet is determine if it's arithmetic. So remember, arithmetic means you're either adding or subtracting to get the next term. So, and I don't have a marker. Let me go get a marker. I'm always losing my markers. There you go. Okay, so on this first one, I look to see am I going up or going down. 22 to 29 is going up. So I say, okay, from 22 to 29, I think I'm adding 7. If you want to check for sure, you can take your calculator and do 29 minus 22. And sure enough, it's a positive 7. So I'm going to check it, though, to see if it holds true for all of it. 29 plus 7, does that give me 36? Yeah, it does. 36 plus 7, does that give me 43? Yes, it does. You want to check every single term, make sure it's working for all of them. It might work for the first one or two, but then not work for the rest of them. It has to work all the way through. So since you're adding 7, is it arithmetic? Yes, this is arithmetic. Oops, T-H-M-E-T-I-C, arithmetic. Okay, and if the common difference would be D equals a positive 7. All right? No, I'm already at 3. Let's do this one. 16 to 20, that's going up. I'm thinking it's add 4. 20 to 24. Yeah, that's add 4. 24 to 28. Yep. I'm pretty sure it's adding 4 every single time. So is it arithmetic? Yes, it is. And the D is 4. Positive 4, meaning you're adding 4, adding 4, adding 4. 20, or number 2 over here, 24 to 4, that's going down. I think we subtracted 20, right? If it went down, if it's arithmetic, you're adding or subtracting. Since it went down, that might be a minus 20 to get from 24 to 4. But if I take 4 and minus 20, do I get to 1? No, that's a minus 3. And 1 to 18 is adding 17. So is that arithmetic? No, it is not following any set pattern. So this is not arithmetic. So since it's not arithmetic, there is no D, right? Because the D is the thing that you're adding or subtracting every single time. 4, I went from 10 to negative 90. Wow. I'm hard to wrap my head around that. I'm thinking, okay, this is 10, here's 0, and I'm way over here at negative 90. So how many apart is that? From 10 to 0 was 10 units, and then another 90 units. So if this is all together, I went backwards 100 units. Now, if you want to do it in the calculator, you could do negative 90 minus 10 and see if it tells you negative 100, which it should, okay? So if you put that in the calculator and then check this one, negative 90 minus a negative 90, see if you also get that. Because we're here at negative 90, if I go another 100 in the left direction, negative 100, that puts me at negative 190. If I go negative 100 again, it puts me at negative 200. So that does work. D is a negative 100. And again, you can take negative 290 minus negative 190. So it's a double negative there because we're subtracting this number minus the previous number to see what you're adding or subtracting. It is arithmetic. Okay. Now, in the next section, what they're doing is they're saying they're giving you the first term. Remember on the poster, the first term is A sub 1. And that's a little 1 down low. Don't make it a big one. That just looks like A1. It's not A1 steak sauce. It's A sub 1. And they are also going to give you the common difference. So they're going to give you A sub 1 and they're going to give you the D. Remember, the D is what you're adding or subtracting. And then they want you to write the first 4 terms. Just list them out. First term common, second term common, third term. And then we're going to write the explicit formula. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But let's do the first term. So here's the first problem. A sub 1 is literally what number? 32. This is the first term is 32. What are we doing each time? D is negative 2, so we're subtracting 2. So from 32, if I subtract 2, I get 30. 30 subtract 2 is 28. 28 subtract 2 is 26. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just wrote the first 4 terms. 32 is the first one, that's A sub 1, and I'm subtracting 2 each time. Now, what they want us to do is to write the explicit formula for this particular pattern. The formula is always starting, I'm going to write the formula here so we have it in front of us. And again, it's on that poster, and you can make a picture of that poster on your phone so you can look at it in the phone as you're working the worksheet. But the formula is A sub n, any term that I'm looking for, is equal to A sub 1 for that pattern, plus or minus your D number, whatever the D number is, plus D or minus D, times n minus 1. Okay? The only 2 things I'm going to drop in for this particular one is the first term and the D number. Okay? Everything else stays the same. So for this particular one, A sub n is equal to A sub 1, and what is my A sub 1? 32, the first term. Your plus or minus your D number. Mine is a minus 2, not a plus 2, so it's going to be a minus 2 here. There's my D, minus 2, and then parentheses, and minus 1. This is the explicit formula for this particular pattern. You just plug in the first term, and you just plug in the D. And this is the formula I use. If I wanted to find the 100th term, I could plug in 100 here and 100 here and just do the math on that side, and I will have the 100th term without having to make a whole long list. Okay? This is the explicit formula that they want you to write. So the only 2 things you plug in is the A sub 1, first term, and the D, the thing that you're adding or subtracting. And there's the formula, right? So take a picture of it, or go back and look at your poster and have that poster handy on your phone. So let's do number 6 together, and then you're going to do the rest of these. All right? So, let me move this over. Number 6 says, a sub 1 is 55. A sub 1 is my first term. So 55 is the first term, comma. I want to write 4 terms. What is my D? I am subtracting 5. So 55 minus 5 is 50. 50 minus 5, 45. 45 minus 5, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are my first 4 terms. Now I want to write the explicit formula. That's the formula. I'm just going to plug in a number here and a number there for this particular pattern. So A sub n, make sure it's small and down low. It's not a big N, it's small and down low, is equal to A sub 1, which is 55, my very first term. And then my D number, I have a negative D number, so I'm not going to put plus D. I'm going to say minus 5, because my D is a minus 5, parentheses, n minus 1. That is my explicit formula. Okay, so you've got the rest of those to do. I think you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems to do just like that. Write the first 4 terms. We're just getting used to using these little pieces and knowing what they represent in the pattern. It's just a pattern. Okay, all right, so go do that. Again, you have the answer key. You look to check your answers a little bit. I'm going to go into the next worksheet, so you can pause this whenever you need to. The next one is doing the same thing. It's a maze. It's called a maze. So you're not working every problem on here. You're just working the ones that work your way through the maze. So, for example, let me make this a little bit bigger. We start here with this one. They have given you a sub 1, which is the first term, and they've given you the D number, right? So they want you to know, is this the right formula for this problem, or is this the right formula for this problem, or is this the right formula for this problem? So remember, we have a sub n, and we have our first term. Yep, first term, first term. Ah, not the first term, so it's not that one, it's one of these two. And then we have your D number. Is it a plus 8 or is it a minus 8? It's a minus 8, so this is the right one. So on your paper, you can just, if you want to, you can just number these. You can say, okay, this is number 1, and you're going to say, right, this is your answer. This is the answer that we have there. And then you're going to say, okay, this is now problem number 2. And now you're going to, from problem number 2, they tell you, this is your A sub 1, and this is your D. So we want to know which of these formulas coming off of this is the right one for my next problem. So A sub 1 is 10, so that one's got a 10, this one's got a 20, it's not that one. That one's got 200, it's not that one. And I didn't show the one below it, but the one below it is not right either. This one has the 10, and is it adding 20? Yep, it's adding 20. So on your paper for number 2, you can write this formula on your paper. And then you're going to go do this problem, this will be problem number 3. So you're working your way through the maze, okay? So on your paper, obviously, you're just going to write the number and write the formula. Write the number and write the formula. Okay, so you won't be winding up doing them all. It'll kind of work you through until you get to the bottom right corner where it says you're done. All right, so I think that's it for this. And then I think you have a little exit ticket worksheet, which is just, I think just finding is it a function or not. So on your paper, you can just write number 1, yes or no, is it a function? Number 2, yes or no, is it a function? All right, so that'll be pretty simple on that. Other than that, I think that's it. Do check the answer sheet, because I have an answer sheet on that exit ticket also, just to make sure that you know if you're getting it as a function or not. You want to know if you're getting these right or not before test day, right? So make sure you're checking your answers, and if there's anything you're missing and don't understand why you missed it, then email me, okay? All right, you guys take care.